period pieces are usually a little tough because you have to pay for the costuming and pick the right setting and really try to set it in whatever period you're trying to do. So we don't see it that often in a low budget film or an independent film, but we got that in the form of A Chance in Hell, brought to us by director Tony Walsh, who also co-directed it with a gentleman named Johnny Five. And we get the story of Nazi Germany during the war, where the Allies are storming the beach and Germany's looking for a way for a new super soldier. So they start doing experiments, and they end up having one of their experiments backfire on them, and it takes a bite out of them and causes a zombie outbreak within their facility, and it becomes overrun. At the same time, we have a group of allies who are on the run from a Nazi army, and they take hold in this old facility that is overrun by zombies, and we see the events unfold, how they try to escape not only the Nazis themselves, but also the zombies that are within the facility. I really like the fact that they went period piece with this, and the fact it's set during World War II in the midst of a battle. It was a great setting for a horror film. You don't see it that often, and they took a chance with it, and it paid off in giving it some more original feel to it, you know, to the basic experiment gone awry story. So I really like that angle. The fact they used authentic German for all the Nazi German parts was fantastic and unexpected. The fact that they were actually using the authentic dialogue in there really also helped give it some legitimacy to the period that they were trying to convey that this film was in. Okay, and then the setting, this place, this location that they found where they filmed this whole movie in was just great visually. It had nooks and crannies, piping, and you know, open rooms and tight rooms, and just all kinds of great elements there too, that, you know, whoever they had for the location scout did well with it too. And I really liked this film. Now, it did have a bigger budget than most of the films that we've seen at the festival, but it still was a low budget film by any other standards in Hollywood. So you can definitely add to that. The fact that they had a little extra money than most of these films helped add to the production cost. But again, you're talking a period piece, so costuming and authenticity, depending on how authentic you want to go with it, can cost you money. But I was very impressed with it, and I thought it was a great original type take on the whole thing. You got a beautiful performance by Kendall Lynch, who she's one of the female experiments, if you will, and man, just creepy, man. I mean, and what was also creepy were the effects. The zombie effects were done really well. Great makeup there. The dialogue between the characters was a little weak in this film. I would have liked to seen a little bit different banter going on. A lot of the stuff going on was kind of basic and a bit cliche in parts, you know, but the characters, well, it's a shorter film, so you don't have a whole lot of time to develop your characters, so they were just basic soldiers, okay? There wasn't too much variation between them too much, so it was a little bit lacking in there. But again, with it being a short film, you have to pick and choose where you're going to give your depth, and they gave depth to the story and the backstory for the zombie outbreak and why these creatures were there versus the more story with the soldiers. But overall, A Chance in Hell, they took a chance in hell with a period horror movie, and it was a pleasant watch, and I think it's definitely worth a watch if you get a chance to at another festival. Now, another film that had kind of a Nazi theme to it was It's Strange Misery. In here, this film was written and directed by Kyle Probst, and we get the story of a gentleman who comes across an abandoned cabin, if you will, and it has an old Nazi backpack in it, and there's letters and things about the owner. And when he comes across a letter about the concentration camp that used to be nearby and how this backpack belonged to one of the members there, he finds out that they may have stashed some good old German treasure nearby, and so he goes on a quest to find this, but his quest ends up being not what he expected at all. I liked Strange Misery in the concept and the idea, about the performance by the actors in it was great, and I did like just the original kind of story that this is taking place in the U.S., though it is a Nazi story. What did take away from it, though, was the cutting and the editing. They try to do it in a non-linear format, which can work a lot of times, but in this case, it was so non-linear, it was very hard to figure out exactly what was going on, especially in the very beginning parts, and then especially as you build up towards the end. And I know it was trying to, you know, kind of a creative way to do it, but it just took me, it was so sporadic and out of order that it took me away from the characters. So when you get finally to kind of near the end, you didn't quite feel connected to the character or you care as much, I think, just because of sequences being so out of order. The cinematography in it was great, especially near the end. This fantastic wide shot of our character running across just this open snowy field was beautifully shot, and so I did like the cinematography. I think if it was edited a little bit better, I would have enjoyed this film more. And the concept was great. It's just within that editing execution, there needed to be more work there and not quite so non-linear as to distract you from the other good parts of the film. And that covers Chance and Helen's Strange Miseries. So glad you watched, and until next time, folks, keep the